Good evening and welcome back to my channel. Tonight I want to talk a little bit about veterans. But before I go there, I want to remind you of last week's topic that we did on Friday the 13th of May 2016 about Obama's executive order and his letter to the schools demanding that males and females use the same restroom and shower, provided the males and the females feel like they may be part of the opposite sex. And I told you then that something ain't right. That's a smokescreen, because the government doesn't get involved in who's going to whose bathroom without some other agenda. Well, I found the agenda. And here it is. I'll try to make it short tonight. There's a lot to this, but I'm going to go through it quickly. So pay attention to what's going on with this veterans group in Chicago. It's a veterans group called the RTW Veterans Center. Now, this is the last privately owned property on a stretch of South King Boulevard near the proposed Washington Park site for the Barack Hussein Obama Muslim Center. Not Presidential Center, because he's not a president. He's never been a president. He's tried to be a dictator, and he's proven he's an idiot. But that's another rant for another day. Anyway, so the director of the RTW Veterans Center, his name is J-E-W Ranu, R-A-N-U, and I think it's Menab, N-E-M-E-N-A-B. Now, if I got that wrong, I apologize. But anyway, the director says, we don't appreciate being muscled out and put in a situation of having to negotiate from a position of despair. He believes that the University of Chicago, which is working with the Obama Foundation to bring the Presidential Center to the South Side, is also part of an apparent effort to ultimately force a facility into receivership. Now, the fate of this facility, which they say serves more than 3,000 meals a month, may be well decided Tuesday, and that's tomorrow, when officials return to Cook County Circuit Court for a hearing on the efforts to fix the building's problems. Now, he admits they've got some problems and the place is a little bit in disrepair, but you know, when you're working on donations, you don't have the facility, the capacity to keep the facility pristine. We'd like to, but you know it can't be done. He tells us that the situation, which includes fines of $16,000 a day, now that's ridiculous. It looks like an attempted land grab, and that's exactly what it is. And that the prestigious university where Obama was a law professor and spewed his hatred for the country exerts a tremendous amount of influence over the city and its future. But they deny any involvement in the city's dealings. Oh no, we're just innocent bystanders, and the city all of a sudden decided to jump on this mission that's taking care of our veterans. Something you know that the Muslim occupant of the White House would never do, because he hates the United States. He hates the military. Anyway, this mission of providing support for the veterans is very important, and a lot of University of Chicago community members have volunteered their time at the Veterans Center. The university's not engaged in discussions. Well, hell no, because they've got their man up there. The Veterans Center co-founder, Daniel Habil, or Doc Habil as he likes to be called, is a Vietnam veteran. And he told us Saturday that the people associated with the university have indeed volunteered time, but he also expressed uncertainty about the university's involvement. He says it's really hard to say because everybody's hiding their hand. Well, of course they are. But anyway, they argue the state's budget crisis has created increased demand for their services, including serving 3 meals on every day of the week, and that they're open to negotiating a fair selling price to perhaps relocate to a better and cleaner facility nearby. It's not unreasonable. But this not-for-profit facility, which receives no government funding, they said in a press release Wednesday the history of the building inspectors and other places forcing a worn-out building into receivership, so a prospective developer is eventually able to acquire the property without having to negotiate. In other words, he's going to buy it for 10 cents on the dollar. Now, the city says these fines aren't being enforced, and the case landed in court because of the numerous 311 calls that led inspectors to the city. Now, I doubt that happened. I really doubt that happened, because these guys are not going to be snitching off their own place when they're getting fed and given probably a place to sleep, rest, and maybe some of the help that they need that they can't get thanks to the restrictions that Obama's placed on the Veterans Administration. Anyway, they did a study, and they commissioned this study, the university did, and found that the presidential facility would have about 800,000 visitors a year. I don't know how they know that, because I sure as hell ain't going up there. And he said it'd have an economic impact of $31 million on the neighborhood. No, I doubt that seriously. All they're doing is grabbing land. I'm going to leave you a link to this article that I found on Fox News and another one that I found on CNN. This is not a humbug, ladies and gentlemen. This is your president and more of his skullduggery. Anyway, that's my rant for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe to my page and pass this on to your friends. And if somebody would like to start a GoFundMe page, I'm sure these veterans would appreciate it. Anyway, have a great day. Come back and see me again.